Well, yeah, I think recording started. And and to the Node API, um, July 25th meeting. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Cool. So maybe we can get started then. Anything people would like to bring up in the down completed list? Um, there is nothing new in the list. And, before we jump to any pull requests, do you have any particular issue that you would like to bring up first in the in progress or HDR lists? Not, maybe you can go through the list to see if there's anything that's particularly interesting. Um, see, yeah, I think it might be valuable to have or to have your attention on this pull request and particularly about the situation here and what might be more suitable. And like Ben suggested that purely implementable, the word implementable might be a little bit vague. So I'd value whoever can share their native English skills on this word choosing. It might be helpful. So yeah, I don't have strong opinions, so I'm open to suggestions in this particular wording. So yeah, I'd appreciate it if anyone can chime in this suggestion. And thank you very much. And let's see for the float 16 array. I think the last time we discussed about the um enum value adjustability, and we were chatting about how the um, enum values will be consumed by the add-ons. So um,
Yeah, I actually was thinking about a bit like I think it's yeah, I guess like whatever you propose in document it makes sense. At least I couldn't find any better solution, I'll tell you. Um, we just need somehow to be very careful in terms of I'm curious, is there any kind of special attribute in C++ that would say that certain enum is not exhaustive? But I believe most compilers already assume that whatever enum values you have, they're not really usually not exhaustive. Like I think it's most compilers assume that you can easily cast any enum values to integer. And I know I believe that Clang at least usually requires you to have default in any case.
well, I as far as um to my understanding, I don't have anything at the top of my mind that can force compilers to emit an error for non-exhaustive switch case. Um, and particularly, I think one case might be noting is that, like we previously chatted that the just if people use the value, um, yeah, if people use the value like this pattern, compilers will not be able to catch any errors. because it's just an if it's just a bunch of if else branches, and it's not a typical switch case. I would say that it it it, it is a um programmatical bug, but I'm not sure how this is feasible to catch it with compiler analysis, static analysis.
You're right. Like in this case, I believe here we have a bug because technically, uh, in case if we experience like new value, we need to. It's better to return some kind of error status that we couldn't
Yeah,
recognize with array typed array type.
yeah. So here it's like if whenever we add a new type of type array, we are falling out of the normal path and we may return an abnormal value to the caller. So I would say that is rather a bug, and I just not sure how it's feasible to statically catch it with compiler annotations.
No, in this case, not. Like I think like I was mostly referring to if somebody's using switch statement, and if this switch statement, for example, does not have default uh, clause in it, and it may kind of create this some kind of sense of kind of security that with exhaustive check. Uh, I wonder if we can somehow enforce that the now people using switch statement against our enums, they kind of compiler should never believe that we must kind of force to use this default if you like. I don't know.
I think there might be some build flags that might influence compilers to warn about missing switch default case, but I'm not sure if it can be turned on for specific enum values. Like it's a global setting, not a per enum value setting.
Okay,
And
fine. Like
enabling that build compiling flag might be more disruptive because people might have enums that can be, by their definition, exhaustive.
okay, but I believe we like we discussed last time. So the problem what we see right now that yes, we have this Node API which can be implemented of different runtimes, so VMs and something like this. And the issue which we face in that this runtime or JavaScript VM can evolve, right? Like for example, in this case, we discussed, but this new typed array float 16 appeared, and we need somehow to provide support for this new runtime feature, even previous versions of Node API, right? So there is some kind of we can't simply say that any new runtime features would come up with a Node API version, and also consider different runtimes may implement different features on different scheduler. So we definitely need to have some kind of system which would
Um,
allow us to have different runtime capabilities versus Node API version.
I think we had two distincts here. One is that this particular case only applies to enum values, which applies to Node API functions that accepts a enum value or returns a enum value as its like so only on API function, Node API functions that operate that accepts or returns an enum value. And for other Node APIs, like API, like imagine if the symbol was introduced at a later version of Node API, we may generally add a new Node API function, which will be guarded with a new API version guard if definition. So that in that case, these functions will still be versioned with Node API. And I think for a runtime to support a newer version of Node API, it is advisable that they need to support the new types of ECMAScript value types or new ECMAScript features. And for new enum values, I think we can still guard the new enum value definition with version guards so that people can say, so that an add-on can say, I am built with an API version like 11, and I request that the runtime should, because Node.js will reject a add-on that's compiled, that only supports API version, Node API version 10. So Node will refuse to load a add-on that's compatible with Node add-on API, Node API version 11. So add-on can say that this Node version definitely not supports the value types that I request. But I think there's another case, and you mentioned is that what if a Node.js version actually supports like the particular floated 16 array, and I am and the add-on is is compiled with like an API version that's lower than the um like imagine assuming API version like 9, which does not define float 16 array. What should happens here? What should happen here? I think that the answer is that they should not, well, they are not expected to use the new enum values in in the NP functions. But if they really do, I think in the previous Node.js versions, it's already an error path, and I don't anticipate that that would be a really disruptive issue that somehow they're um I mean it'll be a already been be a be an error in development if they passed a wrong value as a enum value in any Node API function. So that's not a I would not say that is super concerning. So I think that's three cases that I can imagine of.
Right. Sorry, like just I kind of you lost me at some point. So you're saying like three cases.
Yeah.
Last case you said like about using the input or output.
So that's the first case is like API create a symbol, which is a new function. So that should be totally fine because
Mhm.
that's not using an enum value. And the second case is that API functions that accepts or returns a enum value that's being extended with the new enum value. And the add-on is compiled with newer version, but the runtime only supports lower version. So
Mhm.
the runtime will reject to load the newer version of add-on. So that's totally fine. And the third case is that the add-on is compiled with lower version of Node API, and the runtime, the Node.js executable supports newer version of Node API. And for the lower version of for the add-on, they should already be um, in previous runtimes. It's already an error pass if they pass an arbitrary enum values in the functions that accepts an enum value. So I think it's already they should not program in that way. So I don't think it's an issue for lower version of add-on that pass a unknown enum value to the in function.
Right.
And
You're just showing this here example. We returning here like so it's like probably I misunderstood you a bit. Okay. Yes, makes sense that it's in its input value definitely in all the versions, and we can use to reject it, and we will continue to reject it according to your document. And for output,
sorry, I think it's still arguable that if we should reject them at runtime, right? Do you mean that if we should reject them, reject based on Node API value, Node API version?
no, I'm just asking you. I'm not saying anything. Just trying to understand. You
Um,
just you didn't change your position about what you already kind of set in document, right? So pretty much we should be like you said in document we're okay to return or use the output parameters like new enum values. And what I'm saying, I agree with your statement.
yeah, I didn't change any positions about this document. I'm just trying to see if we are on the same page about the the in parameters and outer parameters, and if we need any, like, if we need to incorporate your um if we need to incorporate the discussion by
I think I'm on the same page with you. I think it's only kind of I would say a couple of small changes to document which I would propose. So one of them would be like saying instead of yeah, we definitely need to go back to this PR, and I will change. I would after this discussion, I will change my um, comments over there. Yes.
yeah. So I'm trying to see if we are on the same page on this document and to see if we need to incorporate this thread into the document, because I think the document didn't say that we need to add a runtime check because um,
Yes.
it seems like unnecessary for lower version of add-ons to pass a unknown value to them. Uh, sorry, for them to pass an unknown value to node function. So for them, it should be already an error pass. But if we change it to a correct path, I don't think it's harmful. That's what I understand. And so they should expect that they cannot get any meaningful result if they pass a unknown value to not every function. That's what I'm saying, that if we need to explicitly say anything about that step. But anyway, I think we should see if we can agree on this document and get it. Hopefully, we can um land it first.
Yeah, I agree with this document. The only thing I would propose two kind of changes, like if you like, so instead of saying like enum value just integer, I propose to uh, make sure that we specify very clearly that it's 4-byte integer, like for example
Yeah,
int32, because I believe it's standard for C, but for C++ it requires some clarification. And I would even propose at some point we change our definitions for enums to kind of if def depending what language we have, if it's C++ or C. I try to kind of did it inside of embedding API. So technically, it's very simple macro, if you will. So in this case, C++ code would receive a kind of nice C++-ish enums, like this enum class, which kind of scope to enum type. And but it's kind of future change. But what I believe in this document, we can simply clarify that the integer must be 4-byte integer. Like
yeah, sure.
so this
Yeah, I
is what
agree.
the default in C, and we just simply say yes for ABI compatibility with what we state. And second thing, what we discussed last time, I believe it's probably not needed in this document, but just kind of agree that we should probably introduce new Node API status as return status, like unsupported.
Yeah.
Um, so, like for example, if we find some value, maybe it's we know that say like some JavaScript runtime or like a new JavaScript standard has new features, but it just happened that this specific implementation does not support it yet. Um, we I would propose it kind of do it, but probably it's not required this document. Just kind of something we can implement in one of the kind of upcoming pull requests. But otherwise, yes, I see the point. Yeah, I just simply couldn't propose anything better until and just kind of a realization that we even like well we have this Node API versions, but a runtime which we implement this Node API for, we can potentially have different features, different capabilities, and actually it opens us to use like newer Node API versions against the kind of previous runtime versions. Like for example, if we introduce Node API version 11 or 12, we should be free, for example, to kind of backport it to Node.js 20 or like Node.js 18 if we still support it in any case.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to capture what we have been chatting about. In
Okay.
particular, we would like to add a new um, status, and the API create tabular array will return the mm, if an API build 16 array is. Does the comment comment
Sounds
sound
good.
look good to you?
Yeah, sounds great. And we probably um, yes, okay, yes. I just think like it probably I'll comment out on this pull request itself, but remember like we discussed about this this if statements for type array type, because we're saying that currently we have a bug. Maybe this pull request can also fix it. So technically we can have like add this else statement. And this else statement would just return that not supported.
Yeah, that would be great if you can comment on it. I'm going to post this.
So we essentially, is it okay if we ask author to add this new an API not supported flag as a part of this pull request?
I think so, because otherwise we will have to submit a backport separately. So, but I think it will be beneficial to add the status in this program directly. Or let's see how the author responds to the command. We can do that separately if the author does not have the bandwidth to do it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
By the way, does this status code name look good to you? Like an API not supported? I'm wondering if it matches the naming of other status code.
To me, it looks good. It's relatively short and
Yeah,
to the point. Uh,
sounds good. Okay,
Because
then
it
leave it
would
as a.
simply say it's not error with parameters of stuff like this. It's more like we with this status we say that this specific runtime, this specific implementation at this point of time, like just not supporting this call for whatever reason. What I believe we're really missing, but it should be probably a matter of different PRs. So we're pretty bad about supplying details about some statuses. Like I believe it's one of the vectors of development of Node API inside of node.js is to provide a little bit more verbose error messages. Like status is great, but it would be nice to be able to receive some details. If you look right now, we have this API to return details, but this API usually returns just kind of very short string which corresponds to status, which again too abstract. It would be really nice to have some message which say like what exactly issue is. Like for example, we say like invalid arg. It would be nice to say at least the argument name and what is invalid about it. you know, but it's a kind of matter of future PRs.
Okay, cool. I think for the name you mentioned, like Node API, that only applies to new functions. I don't think it applies to existing API in values. So we have new naming convention for API functions, but this is alright. This is a new type, but it's still named with Node API prefix. But I
I
would say
personally
that we should keep the existing convention for status code.
Yes, I believe it would be better. My personal opinion, I would not even change prefixes. I believe right now we just created a bunch of confusion that some APIs have Node API prefix, some APIs have an API prefix. If it would be up to me, I would simply, yes, we understand it's not kind of politically correct prefix, but think about C++ standard library. Like STD is actually it's pretty bad abbreviation in English, right?
Really?
Yes, it's
Okay.
sexual transmitted disease.
Oh,
It's,
actually, I am not a native English speaker, and I don't have that knowledge. So I never know that today I learned.
and yes, I understand that the NAPI may have some kind of some, but not politically correct meaning in some cases, but it's just not possible in then we do some kind of software development to have always like all abbreviations always politically correct in all different languages, right? It's just not possible. It's actually about meaning. In this case, we didn't really mean about any kind of disrespect or something like this. We really meant to have original meaning, and I believe for consistent APIs it would be much more kind of better to have consistency than. Okay, anyway, it's just my opinion. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. For the new status code, we are going to say it's called API not supported, and so that when this particular pull request is being backported to the Node.js v22 and v20, the API will simply return API not supported for float 16 array. And it'll be great that if you, Vladimir, if you can comment on the progress saying that if we can add a default branch to the if else the large if else block to return a not supported for unknown types
Okay, I'll
if
do it.
you have some time to do it. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have like new functions here? Sorry, I don't remember all details about PR.
I think no.
I guess my question is about like, do we need to have this additional macro for feature flag? Oh, it's only type, right? Like there is no new function.
Yeah, it's
I,
only
I-
new, you know,
But in this case, how to define this experimental has floating arrays? Do we still want to define it?
Um, it's useful to determine if this particular NPI value is NPI enum value is being defined. So otherwise, if you reference the name NPI float 16 array, um, it may be undefined. And if we have this macro, we can say that if this macro is defined, we know that this name is defined.
Okay.
And yeah, I will defer other discussions to you to see if we can address all of them. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry for all these differences, but I just kind of I think it was still valuable that we kind of decided what should be our policy going forward about these enums and stuff. And thank you for driving this effort.
Yeah, no worries. I think the discussion is really helpful that we can codify these API stability guarantees on the enum value types. So it was a gray area that we never covered before the old API versions. So I think it's really meaningful for us to define the stability guarantees here. Thank you very much. Cool. So we have this provide API stability guarantee settled and the float 16 array settled. And we have a new pull request about adding a shared array buffer API. I think the author have already updated pull request, and I'm going to take a second look. And any if anyone here would like to take another look, it'll be very helpful. And yeah, this one is particularly purely about adding new functions, so we don't have to revisit the enum ABS guarantees. So yeah, it's it's just adding new functions. Anything
Yeah,
else?
I saw this PR like last week, but I didn't have a chance to check it this week. It's I think it's great. Like I believe it's shared array buffers are extremely good in case if people want to share some native data between different threads, right? It's far as I understand.
Yeah, right. So it's useful to create a shadow buffer and transfer it to another work thread, and yeah, it can be helpful. So it would be great if anyone here can take a look on the progress, and thank you very much. Anything else in the in progress list that people would like to bring up first?
No, I still didn't have a chance to look on this embedding yet, so I'm kind of hopefully I'll start to look at it next month.
Cool.
Yeah, and author obviously they asked me like if I can make some progress. I'll respond. I'm just not able to do it this week, but yeah.
Cool. Thank
But
you.
at least
No worries.
I actually found that we have some. If I try to run our existing embedding APIs under debug mode on Windows, we have a failures. I probably need to fix this thing first.
Yeah.
It seems like there is a kind of some a shortcoming from the 8 engine. We're using some kind of wrong thread. I think I believe it's related to one of the issues with uh, snapshotting stuff. I don't know. I need to investigate it first.
All right. Cool. Thank you very much for giving me. See. anything else before to talk to chat first in the to-dos? I think we chatted about this one sometime. And
Yeah, I didn't look at it yet. I mean, I definitely kind of we
nice.
discussed it, and I kind of have in mind that what shape of API is supposed to be created, just not started it yet.
Yeah, no worries. I think it's in the to-do list and it's open for pull requests.
Maybe if you have some time to put your ideas there, maybe I can take a look and see what I can do.
Oh, it would be great. Like, it was somewhere there. Like, what I can do, I can provide like another summary. Like,
Yeah.
it
I
was,
think this summary still applies, right?
uh, I guess so. Yes. At some point, we may need to go back and uh, do some changes to V8 itself to make it more kind of better, if you like. But I believe we can start with some implementing new APIs.
Well, if the new Node API is designed to be agnostic from the engine, like it can accept a list of object keys and a list of values, then the under the hood optimization can be up to the engine optimization. Like I think one good example of Viet API that could create object fast with a bunch of properties can be this one. Let's see, Viet object new, right, this one. So the signature of the API is like first it's the prototype of the object, and but I'm not sure if we need to expose that. Um, and the second is a list of property keys, and third is a list of values, and the length of the list. And of course, the two lists must be the same length. So in this way, the engines can determine what strategy they can adopt to optimize the creation of the object. And I think this should be able to match the requirement of this um, issue to create object with properties rather than using the API defined properties as a second call.
Yes, I absolutely agree. It's exactly kind of signature I was having in mind. And if you go to I don't know what using as a reference for JavaScript standard, but I usually use MDN. And an MDN, if you look for object has some method. And effectively, this if you like this C++ API kind of also reflects one of JavaScript standard object methods, create object or something like this. So I think it's also can we can actually point to one of JavaScript standard methods, if you like. Yeah, JS object create.
Okay, cool. I think I can take like a look. I saw it's a long thread, and maybe if I have some questions I can put there. But if you don't mind, I can take a look. I know you have a lot of things going on.
Yeah, if you can just simply, we discuss multiple APIs and I have a list of different APIs. If you can just focus, say, on just this create object with properties,
Okay,
just one API to start with, it will be awesome. We can implement other APIs after that, but I think it's would be great to start with this one.
cool. Yeah, I will take a look tomorrow and let's
Yeah, it will
see.
be huge help.
Okay.
And then after this API implemented, we can start to see if we can implement it faster. Unfortunately, last time that I look at V8 implementation, they have implementation which I personally didn't like much. They're using some kind of a hash table for all these named properties, which is not so performant compared with what they typically do. Then they're creating this kind of hidden classes and in certain order. I believe it will be kind of the most efficient according to what we tried there. I still believe I have these branches where I can try those different things for performance, but we can go back and improve or add additional API on the V8 side after that, I hope. And I believe
Okay.
it also kind of discussion there, like we with one of developers from BAN project, he said that I believe JSC they have like a very specific function which can also help with in making it more performant. Will be interesting to see how it's if it's implementable on top of JSC using this. I believe he said that they have some kind of called structs. It's also part of his discussion. I don't remember all details, but also will be interesting to see if using this new API we can have optimized implementation on the band side as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that one.
Well, thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, if there is object.create and object.create receives the first parameter uh, prototype and then it receives like a array of properties or something, right? Yeah, properties object.
Yeah.
So technically, this API in some sense it's kind of supposed to kind of reflect what JavaScript API object dot create.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking a volunteer to take to do that. Anything else people would like to bring up to us? Don't see any updates here, and I didn't have a chance to investigate this crash. I think all these are regular dependency updates, and this. Let's see if there's any updates. I don't see any updates from the author. All right. I think we have all the issues covered. Before we jumping out, anything else people would like to bring up?
No
Nope.
If
discussion
not,
today.
yeah, thank you very much for joining the call today, and I'll see you on GitHub, and have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.